Welcome back to the Throw channel. Now we're going to throw watches at you. So we're going to take a little vintage Armitron. We're going to change the battery, pull the stem, clean the glass, put it back together. All right, grab your cocktail, get ready for this one.
Now I could show you stuff like this. How pretty is that? 19, I don't know, 15, 19, 18, right around there. Beautiful. Waltham, Massachusetts, a Waltham pocket watch. Just ticking away beautifully, as you can see. Right there. You see the sub-second hand just cranking out the time. Gorgeous. Minutes in red, hours in black. Absolutely a stunner. And inside, we have this guy just cranking it up. Now, I could show you taking this one apart, oiling it and fixing it, but there are many people on the internet that do that so much better than me. And how many of you are really going to take apart something like this, or even own something like this? Very, very few. So I could do that, but that's not what I'm going to do. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to guess a lot of you own stuff like this. This is an Armitron, ladies, small, little, metal strap, flexible bracelet. Okay, we've got this little guy, which is a very pretty Anne Klein cocktail watch. Absolutely lovely, gorgeous watch, stunningly pretty, but, well, not running either. We've got this little girl, which is an Orvis, very nice strap, lovely leather, a little crack, needs a little conditioner. She'll survive. It's good. It's in good nick. Very pretty. Well, we'll see. We have this guy, which is a tiny little citizen quartz. Absolutely stunning how tiny and gorgeous it is, right? But we'll see again. We're going to have to work on these to make them work. These are things that you might actually own. Here we have a Timex Indiglo, lovely watch from the company that takes a licking and keeps on ticking, right? These are things that you own that you should have probably in your kitchen drawer. And if you don't, well, you probably should have a wristwatch, because the alternative is an Apple Watch or a Samsung watch, and that you get a big black circle or a big square black box sitting on your wrist most of the time, when you could have something that's this pretty. And it is pretty. All right, so we'll start with this one, just because that's where we're at. All right, so what are we going to do? Well, the first thing is you're going to need a few basic tools, and I'm going to use very basic tools. Things that you might have lying around, or you can go buy for just a few dollars. Not trying to make you spend a ton of money, right? First thing we're going to do is get to the battery, right? So we're going to open the case. You see it flicks open. One more time. Flicks open. And it clamps quite kind of okay, right? But I'll show you a fault that's already happened. Okay? Before we go any further, we'll do a little tiny bit of fixing on the bracelet. You see here how it's bent just a little bit, right? Well, we're just going to straighten that up just a little tiny bit, right? There we go, right? Just a tiny little adjustment, and the bracelet will go. Ha! You hear that now? Yeah? You hear how it snaps into place now? And so it stays tight. This piece of stainless steel here, this sheet, is somewhat flexible. and can be bent. But you bend it in certain places. Don't change the arc. If you're gonna adjust it, you adjust it right here at the bottom, because you want to bring this hinge and this little clasp closer or further away from the bar that's coming down to engage with it. Like that. So that's beautiful. But we want to get to the watch. So we're going to remove this spring bar, which is sitting right here. Okay, it's a spring bar tool, cheap. You can buy them off Amazon. Okay, we're going to press it down and we're going to cover it up because we don't want it to fly anywhere. Right? We don't want to lose it. Okay, there it is. We're going to take it and we're going to put it right over there. Now, we have access to the watch itself. How do we open it? Well, usually if you look around the perimeter of the watch on the back case, there will be a spot that's usually marked to say, hey, open me here. Sometimes there'll be an arrow. Sometimes you're looking for a little step. And sometimes, well, there's no clues, right? So then you need a case knife. Not a complicated tool. It's just a piece of metal that's brought to a chisel point, okay? And we're going to put it in between the case back and the case right there. You see that? That's the part where we're looking for. And we're going to use the wedge to apply pressure and open up the case. Okay? Just like that. You see? Open up the case. Now, this is an Armitron. Okay? Now, we're going to remove this part. Plastic for many, many years. It acts as a shock absorber for the watch. It positions the dial, and it also, quite often, secures the battery in place. This one will cover this, and it secures everything in place. Stops it rattling around, moving, and everything stays tight. Now, that's two more pieces of watch gone. Okay, so we've removed the spring bar, the back of the case, and the positioner. Now there's the battery. How do we get it out? Well, there's 2 points of contact that hold it in place. The first one is right here. All this is a little ledge, a little hook, and it's solidly in place. You don't want to mess with that one. That's what's holding this side of the battery in place and creating a contact through here. Now, this side is a spring arm. Okay? It also has a little hook on it that's holding this side of the battery in place. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tweezers. These are not precision tweezers. They're just general okay tweezers. Right? And I'm going to put it right on the spring arm and gently move it back just a little tiny bit, and at the same time lift up. Now once I've lifted it past the spring bar, then I can lift out the battery. Okay, now what's next? Okay, I have the battery out of the case. All right, I see it has a number on it. Okay, whoops. We'll try to roll away there, okay? And I'll hold it up to the camera so you can see it. It is indeed a 364-363, which, if I check my handy-dandy sheet, because there's only like 37 different kinds of battery, right? A 363-364 is one of the most common batteries. It's also known as an AG1. AG0, AG1, AG4 are the most common batteries. AG0 is tiny, AG1 is a little bigger, AG4 is the same diameter, 6.5 millimeters, as an AG1, but it's thicker, almost by 0.5 millimeter. So we're going to find ourselves an AG1 battery. And of course I have every battery. So this is how I keep them, the AG1s, right? So now I want to take it out of its case, all right? So we're going to literally just pop the case open to get to the battery. Okay, there she is. There's the new one. Now, remember what I said about the little solid part, right? That's this one that's not going to move. It's not flexing anywhere, right? We want to make sure that the front edge of the battery goes underneath there first, okay? Then gently, we're going to see if the battery will seat, right? We'll just, there, do you hear it click in place? The spring arm moved back and clicked over the top. Now we have a watch with a battery installed, a new one. And shockingly, it's running. Look at that. Isn't that great? So now you have your watch that was dead is now fixed up, right? I'll put this used battery in my special container for used batteries because we'll send those to recycling. Okay. Now, what if I had a different problem, okay, and I had to clean the glass or something on the inside? Well, while I have this watch open, I will show you. Right there, on this watch is a little tiny dot. That dot holds this brass arm that, if pressed, will release. So this was pressed down at the same time as I pulled the stem out. Okay? Then this whole watch can come out of the case. Okay? I could then give this little guy a quick clean with a glass cloth. Right? We're going to give it a quick blow with a pump. All this is a pump to pump air, right? Makes it gently blow across. Okay, and then we'll put this guy back on top of the watch like so. Lift the whole thing over. We'll take the crown and stem. Stem's the long part, crown's the bit that you grab with your fingers. We'll feed it back through the hole, line it up with the hole, give it a little wiggle, make sure we're not pushing anything, we're just letting it do it all by itself, right? It's going to find its way home, okay? Right there, going in, okay? And then when we get to the last bit, then we'll push it, we'll give it a pop. You see it pop down? So now that's back in place. Got to do the reverse now. Okay, we need to take the cover, orientate it correctly so that this part is where the stem comes through. Solid everywhere else, but there's a gap for the stem. Stem goes over, put it in place, now holding the movement and the watch dial in place and securing the battery. Then we're going to take this guy and we're going to hold this little slot, little tiny slot here that lines up with the stem. Most of the time it's meaningless and doesn't need to be there. Sometimes it does. So we get into the habit of always making sure that it lines up with the stem. Therefore, when you put it on, you can line it up and pop it on. Okay, now we're going to double check. Very good. And you hear the snap, ping. Yes, it's in place. Okay. Now we got to put the band back together. Yes, the band must have broken up because the band's got to get back together. All right, so we are going to drop this into the bottom hole. And of course, if you wanted to adjust your band, this is how you adjust it too. Right? If it's too loose on your arm, pick a different hole. you get, in this particular case, you get 5 holes, right? And the difference between hole A and hole B is about 3/4 of an inch. So that's quite a lot of change in a wrist size. It'll take you from, 6.5 to 7.25, and that's a big range. Bring it in, and then find the hole. There it is. You see it pop in? Now, before we go too far, we're going to check the other side. It's in. Great. Now, we have a watch that goes together, snaps, done. Okay. All that's left is a quick clean, and off to the races it goes. Now we have to set the time. Setting the time. All right. Now then, this is the crown. You pull the crown out. It's got 2 positions. One, little bit. Second one, more. And you'll feel it, right? It's got 2 clicks. So we're going to go first click first. Today just happens to be Tuesday, not Thursday. So we're going to roll the dial, turn the crown, rotate it, okay? And we're going to rotate it upwards. So now, I have big clunky hands, so I use a pair of tweezers to activate the thing. Now I can select the date. And just pick one. We'll pick the 15th. All right? And then pop the crown back in. Pop. Now I've set the time. Change the battery. And she's ready to go.
Well, I hope you really enjoyed watching a little watch repair. Like and subscribe. And if you don't want to do that yourself, come shop with us on Etsy or eBay. Lots of watches for sale. Watch us again on YouTube. Join us on Facebook. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.